What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of A World of Chaos. Thought I'd mix it up a little bit this week and do a weekly rundown. You don't want to know how many times I said that in the intro and messed up, so got through it. It's been an interesting week. A lot of news has happened in this past week. As I am recording this is Valentine's Day weekend 2021, so hopefully you are with a loved one and watching this. And if you are, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, make sure you like this video, and leave me a comment and let me know what you think about some of the news we're about to go over in today's episode. I appreciate you being here with me, and I hope you're safe. We have a few things to go over. I would like to start with some good news. So we recently just got news that the casting for the HBO original show, and it's going to be on HBO Max, I believe, also based off of the hit video game series by Naughty Dog, The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2, has officially casted its Joel and Ellie. Ellie has been cast with Bella Ramsey. You'd most prominently known her from her role in Game of Thrones as Lady Mormont. I haven't watched Game of Thrones, but I will be watching Game of Thrones, and I will be doing a review of the entire series, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel to see what I think about it. I've amazingly avoided spoilers for years for some of the things, so it might be interesting to see my reaction to certain things that are probably pretty known for a lot of fans. And probably a little bigger casting news for Joel. It has been cast with Pedro Pascal. That name sounds familiar to you. It's probably because you've heard it a lot within the last year. Pedro Pascal has most recently been seen been seen as Maxwell Lord in Wonder Woman 84. You should see my review of that somewhere up here and know what I think about that. You also should know him as the Mandalorian, also known as Din Djarin, of the hit Disney Plus original series, The Mandalorian. If you don't know what that show is, Baby Yoda, that's the show. I think this is amazing casting. Pedro Pascal, I think, is one of the hardest working men in show business right now. Even taking away the work he's done with Mandalorian and what he just recently did in Wonder Woman 84. He was on the Netflix original hit series Narcos. He also was in Game of Thrones. I know that from a few years ago. So this is a Game of Thrones reunion. One of the showrunners for this show is also one of the showrunners for the Chernobyl miniseries from a few years ago that was on HBO that was critically well received. So you do have a lot of power behind it. Naughty Dog, the creators of the IP from the video game, are involved in it also. And Naughty Dog also has the Ratchet and Clank series, and they also have the Uncharted series. So when it comes to good storytelling, this is one of the more respected video game companies because they put characters first. I'm a huge fan of the Uncharted series. Nathan Drake is one of my all-time favorite characters in all video game. Probably even in pop culture, he's probably in my top 10. I also have a review that's going to be coming out when they do the movie. It has been cast, and I believe it's coming out later this year in theaters, hopefully, which does star Tom Holland, Spider-Man, and Mark Wahlberg. So we'll see what's going on with that. But the fact that we have some great casting news with Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey, I'm confident that this will be a good series. When it comes to prestige TV, it's HBO and everyone else. So we will see when we get more casting news from more characters. I will be doing more reviews for that. But just off the top, I have a little confidence in it. I had heard of them casting Bella, and actually the same day that Pedro was actually announced, they were coming up with some fan castings of who we'd like to see as Joel. So Pedro was probably in my radar, but when I heard the news, I was surprised, and I was actually really happy about it. So we also had news that Keanu Reeves has been rumored to have been offered a role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Keanu Reeves as a Marvel character, I'm a fan of Keanu. I love the John Wick series. I think that has truly been one of the better action series that has been around for the last few years, and is one of the few series that I can really think of offhand. Each film gets better. You don't really see that. I mean, they're already 3 films deep within, I believe, 5 or 6 years, and each film's progressively gotten better off of a pretty good premise of somebody killing your dog and stealing your car. If you want to know my thoughts on the John Wick series, you can listen to some of the past episodes of What Kind of Black Nerdcast Is This to know what I truly feel about that series. But I'm a fan of Keanu. I grew up with Keanu. I'm a child of the 80s and 90s, so seeing him as Bill and Ted and Wild Stallions, yes, I won't be adding that sound effect. I don't want to be copyright striked. But I grew up with Bill and Ted. I think Point Break is one of the most underrated, greatest action films of all time. It was directed by Catherine Bigelow, who went on to direct The Hurt Locker, Patrick Swayze in the top of his powers. I think Keanu is an icon. I mean, he is the one. He is Neo. So I think he's a great actor. I just don't know how I feel about him for the role of Kraven. I love the character of Kraven the Hunter. I think he is one of Spider-Man's most formidable adversaries because Kraven is a physical match, but he's also a mental match, and he is a character that he is, depending on who's writing him, does have a great code of honor. The original tales from Kraven and Kraven's Last Hunt really go on with him wanting to basically best and become Spider-Man, not necessarily kill him, but just to prove that he is better. And I think with a lot of the characters and the arcs that you see with some of the villains in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that type of archetype can actually succeed. With him, I don't know. I don't know if he's maybe a character that, or actor that might be too big for the character, because when you see certain characters, you don't necessarily see the actor. When you first saw Star-Lord, you didn't necessarily see Chris Pratt. Now I think you kind of do. When you see Kraven on screen, it might be hard for some people to disassociate Neo or disassociate John Wick or just Keanu Reeves in general. But as of right now, it's a rumor. So in the comments, let me know what you think. Would you like to see Keanu Reeves as Kraven the Hunter, or who would you like to see cast as that character? There were rumors that he possibly could be in Black Panther Part 2. I think that would be a good way to introduce him if you don't introduce him in the third Spider-Man film. But from all the rumors that we've had from that film sounds like it might be overstacked already, and overstacked with Spider-Man. Jumping on to some other news, we have, let's just get this out of the way. Gina Carano has been fired from The Mandalorian. Gina Carano played Cara Dune in the Disney Plus show The Mandalorian. She was fired as the time of recording this. She was fired day before yesterday by Lucasfilms. They did put out an official press release saying that she not only has been released from her contract on being on The Mandalorian, but she will not be considered for any future products with Lucasfilm, which you basically can also say is Marvel and their parent company, Disney. This all happened because Gina Carano is a Twitter thug. She likes to go on Twitter and, as you can do on Twitter, express your views, but you do have to reap what you write. And Gina Carano has a lot of, let's just say, divisive things that she believes. A lot of things that she was fired for have to do with her most recent comments. The most recent comments were her comparing Republicans in 2021 to being Jewish people during Nazi Germany, basically saying that the Republican Party is being persecuted and being harassed, and compare that harassment to Jewish people in Nazi Germany. That is not an allegory I would ever make. There are just some things you leave alone, and that's just one of them. It's not even apt. You cannot compare Republicans who have power and who had power over the past 4 years in their own party and still didn't do a lot of things. Not trying to get too political on here, but facts are facts. You can't compare these two things. She also has made comments on the COVID season, basically about making fun of people wearing masks. Especially she lives in California. She made fun of, there's a photo she posted of somebody that was wearing 2 masks. She made fun of that. She also insulted people on Twitter who use pronouns in their bios. She, her, him, their. She made fun of that, which could also be looked at as making fun of people who are binary or non-binary, or people who are trans or identify as trans. So she really swung for a lot of fences to piss off a lot of people. She was also, the actual same day that this press release came out, was dropped from her agency, UTA. So she doesn't even have representation anymore in Hollywood. So I just wonder, who are your friends? Like, if you have friends and they're following you on Twitter and they see this is a text, this is a FaceTime. Hey, you may want to take that down. It's also being speculated when they had the Disney investors meeting back in November, where they announced, I believe, about 10 Star Wars shows, including multiple spinoffs from The Mandalorian. There was a surprise that there wasn't a Cara Dune show spinoff that was announced. That actually is being speculated that the reason that Disney did not announce that spinoff is that they've already been planning on firing Gina Carano because of the comments she made over the past summer. Also, in that same month, a few days before the Disney investor call in November, she made comments about the 2020 election being rigged with no proof. So I can't really say that I didn't see this coming. I'm actually surprised it did take this long. I think Disney was just waiting maybe for her to say something else so they could have more justification, but Disney just had enough. And as the time of me recording this, I think it was only maybe a day after she posted her most recent tweet, which was in regards to Republicans and Nazi Germany, and Disney just cut her loose. So be careful what you tweet. Next, gonna talk about Armie Hammer. Armie Hammer is the actor you primarily know from films like Call Me by Your Name, The Social Network, The Lone Ranger, Man from U.N.C.L.E. It has been reported over the last few weeks that he has had a lot of things that have been made public about his interactions with women, some allegations of some sexual assault. A woman that he was talking to did leak their conversation on Twitter with screenshots of their conversation, which does include him talking about cannibalism, him wanting to be involved in cannibalism, wanting to drink blood, wanting to eat parts of people, and incorporating that into sexual acts. I don't really know how to segue from this one. He's also going through a public divorce with his wife, the TV host Elizabeth Chambers. So this can only add to a more contentious divorce. He does have 2 children. So I do hope that this does not affect his relationship with them. But this is just, it's a weird situation. It really kind of came out of nowhere. Armie Hammer's not been an actor that you would see in a lot of things that you would inherently just think of him being a cannibal. It's been rumored that maybe these are just jokes, but we've had reports of multiple women coming out and talking about this. So this is not looking like a good thing for him. He was actually rumored to be up for the lead male role in a new rom-com that'll shoot later this year starring Jennifer Lopez. That has reportedly been taken off the table. And he was also dropped from his agency, William Morris Endeavor, and he is now without representation himself. So maybe him and Gina Carano can hang out together. Let's try to go on to some good news since we got that stuff out the way. Let's go on some happy stuff. We do have the report that from the fourth quarter earnings report from Disney Plus has now exceeded 95 million subscribers. Disney Plus has only been around 14 months. Apparently, when they launched Disney Plus and the end of 2019, their goal for end of 2024 was 95 million subscribers. They've now hit that goal in their first 14 months. That's unheard of. To have this type of growth in a year, roughly, a little over a year, you have 95 million subscribers. And think about it like this. If you're a Disney Plus subscriber, you will understand when I say this. All they had was The Mandalorian. When they launched in 2019, the only new content they had that was marquee was The Mandalorian. They've had some shorts. They had the High School Musical, the series. I don't know. It's a weird title. That wasn't really marquee. They had a couple other things, the Jeff Goldblum show, but the marquee thing that they were really trying to get the masses to was a IP that they knew, which was Star Wars with The Mandalorian. Mandalorian, especially season 1, was extremely good. Season 2 was amazing, but that was the only like big marquee subscribe stuff that you would go for. I'm a big fan of The Mandalorian. I'm also a fan of WandaVision. Now that they're starting with the Marvel Cinematic Universe original shows, we're now in the middle of WandaVision season 1. Who knows if we get season 2? After that, coming next month, we'll get Falcon and Winter Soldier. After that, we'll get Loki. Then we have Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, and Hawkeye coming on later this year. So now you're finally starting to get a lot of content that makes Disney Plus a marquee app and service to pay your $7.99 at least a month for. But to be at 95 million subscribers in 14 months, that is absolutely amazing. I don't know how much more they can get. I don't see them having the same growth year after year after year because you're already at 95 million. I think the last report Netflix was at about 145 million, and Netflix had roughly a decade head start on them. You also have HBO Max, which is probably saying, please, how can we get that type of growth? And HBO Max actually makes some great content. I love HBO Max. I'm really getting to a lot of their original shows they have on there. They're the main place I can watch Rick and Morty, so that's also always going to get my attention. But to have 95 million subscribers in 14 months, and that was your 4-year goal, and that was still a reach, a lot of people were saying, this is absolutely amazing, especially like I said, with that first year of not having roughly any original content, just reruns of old Disney Channel movies, the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Star Wars universe, Pixar, all of The Simpsons, which is my main thing that I use Disney Plus for, is to watch The Simpsons. Also, if you haven't seen my top 10 episodes of The Simpsons, make sure you go see that. That is here on this channel also. But that's absolutely amazing. Even me just throwing a number out there wouldn't have said 95 million for them. They are now second only to Netflix in total subscribers for all streaming platforms. It's amazing. So lastly, shouldn't have ended this on a downer, but here we are. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. The creator of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the showrunner, has announced that the show will be ending with this upcoming 8th season. Pour one out for the 9-9. I'm looking for a title of my sex tape joke to put in here, but I don't know where to put it. There you go. But no, this is it's sad, but it's a show that I fell in love with. In all honesty, I was not a fan of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I never watched it before COVID. I say it is the second show that I became a fan of and fell in love with because of being stuck in the house with COVID and having nothing to do but find new shows to watch because I couldn't watch my current shows because they all got put on hiatus. I say the only other show the number one show I fell in love with during COVID was Community. I'm a diehard Community fan. We got 6 seasons. We don't get that movie. But I became a diehard fan of the 9-9. I binged it. I think that's actually the first thing I actually did binge when COVID happened. I knew they were just coming back with season 7, so I'm like, well, let me check out the first 6 seasons. I have friends that rave about it, that always say it's good. I've never really been a huge fan of Andy Samberg. I'm a fan of Andy Samberg now. The show has some of the best writing. It's probably one of the top 10 funniest shows I've ever seen. They have an amazing cast of characters. Andre Braugher. You even have guest stars that come in that play recurring roles from Saturday Night Live, like Fred Armisen. Andy Samberg has done an amazing job as a leading comedic actor. And it really is just a sweet show that is funny. And once you start watching it, you start getting the jokes right when the characters get it and maybe a little before. And it really is endearing. So it is going to be sad to see it. The showrunner did say that when he pitched the show to Andy Samberg, that he said they were going to end at 153 episodes. And if that is true, then that means this current season will only have 10 episodes. Granted, when you think about how productions are going, especially a production like that does happen to have a lot of extras and does do a lot of on-location shooting, even on the studio lot, I can see how keeping it, at a small episode rate would probably be the best thing. I know Melissa Flamero, she did just recently have a child last year. So you got to think that you don't want her, she's going to have to quarantine to shoot the show also. So you don't want her being away from her 2 children that much. So it's going to be sad to see the 9/9 leaving, but I have a feeling that they are going to leave us to, still have a few more laughs. I do hope, even with this last 10 episodes, if it is 10, we get one more Halloween heist episode, because if you're a fan of 9/9, you look forward to that Halloween episode every single season. So that's just some of the stuff we talked about this week. Some of the stuff I thought you guys would want to know. If you want to see me keep doing this weekly, leave a comment and make sure you like and share this. Also look forward to other content on this channel. I am going to start a new movie and TV review series that you should see coming within the next week or two. You also are probably going to start seeing me uploading a dump of WandaVision videos that I have in the back catalog. If you're a fan of WandaVision, I'm going to be doing weekly reviews of that. I have 3 episodes left in the season, but I will be having a review up for every single episode. I'm also going to be doing a new series where I'm going to be watching shows that I've never watched before and giving you my thoughts on them. Most likely shows that are very popular that I just so happen to not get into. So, and I also have a couple other surprises coming on the channel. So if you want to see that, make sure you are subscribed, hit that bell icon to know when I drop the videos, and make sure you leave a like. I am Kayos. You've been awesome. Nerd responsibly.